Hello there, welcome to the channel. Welcome back, perhaps. And today we are going to do a, we imagine, quick little video as we get together a sound for something else in our Cover of Doom series. Something considerably simpler than our last psychedelic effort. And let's dive straight in. We've got some riffs that we've come up with that are similar enough to the material that we want to play that we should be able to do this effectively enough. A couple of different variations. I will play you the variations and then I will play them for you with a couple of the different fuzz sounds. But what we will be getting into today are the drive and tone and perhaps the mix knob, some other things to do with the dream sequence, which is in many ways a drive pedal with an octave sequencer attached to it. So we may also get the space bender involved, even if it's just to have a listen and see how we feel. And we may get some effects from the Super Ego Plus involved too, after our last little endeavor. So, here we go. This is our first riff. And our second riff. So we've already decided that we are going to use the what's it called, Fuzz, the Fuzz Paige Mark II. So let's have a listen to that one again, and then we'll bring in the dream sequence fuzz. Let's see how we feel about that. A little bit of noodling with that, I believe, is in order. Okay, so that's a good basic outline there, and worth noting on the dream sequence that when this lamp is red, the pedal is stopped. Unfortunately, it's one of those slightly confusing pedals where the light is two different colors when the pedal is on or bypassed, rather than being on or off. So, let's have a look though, because you could hear that we were playing around with the drive knob a little bit, and that is a very pleasant effect. One of the great things that it does that you probably heard there is that low C that's at the end, the lowest note on the contrabass clarinet, gets a very choppy feeling with the Fuzz Paige Mark II. And so with the drive, it seems to even that out a little bit, give it a bit more body, and just generally push things. It got a little bit, as we were pushing the drive up, it got a little bit too squishy for our liking. What we're going to do now is we're going to work on getting that drive how we want it. Maybe play around with the tone knob and play around with the wet dry mix there. Worth noting that what the dry mix does here, it's not a wet dry mix, it's a dry mix. So when it's all the way over here, it is only the wet signal. When it's further and further around this way, it brings more of the dry signal in. It does not take the wet out. So something to bear in mind. Let's dive back in. Okay, can definitely hear how the wet dry mix affects things nicely there. What we're going to do very quickly, also by the way, the tone knob there, especially when we brought in that the higher note that's in the second riff, it was very clear how even though we have generally had a bottom up way of approaching sound design, it's really important to consider higher notes as well. And you know, maybe this is something that we need to consider about the compression aspect of the clarinet, is to make sure that there is a more even tone or more even volume throughout the range of the instrument. But for now, we are going to work with what we've got. Do want to demonstrate very quickly that dry mix knob by turning things onto this random mode. completely mixed here. So when this when the dry mix knob is all the way up, and in the random mode it's on that middle light, which signifies at pitch rather than down an octave or up an octave, that essentially means that is kind of meaningless. But I mean, I think that using this random one might be a very nice way of doing a variation on this. Let's just have another quick listen to that with the two different riffs. I love it, but because this is for someone else's tune, I am feeling like I want to be a little bit more of a purist about it and stick to more of like a tone-based kind of thing. Okay, now the other things that we were thinking of trying were Space Bender after, and some Super Ego detune before. So let's dive in with the Space Bender. Excuse me. yeah, I couldn't resist putting in a little bit of night sky there as well. I really like that. Definitely in the ×10 mode on the Space Bender. So the setting we were using initially was the same one that we used for Existence's resistance, and it didn't seem to be working for us in this instance. If I remember correctly, we did have some dry signal in parallel there. So yeah, possibly the dry fuzz signal in parallel. So that might be something. It does tend to thin things out a little bit, the Space Bender, and people have complained it needs a wet dry knob. I am coming round to it, but also it's like this kind of pedal, it's its own beast. Who knows, maybe I will make a version with that particular setting, because that sounded pretty fucking awesome to my ears. But we're gonna go off that, and we're gonna go to the Super Ego. So this is the detune effect. I'm gonna turn the fuzz off now, which will include turning the drive off here, and we're just gonna have a listen to the sample with the detune added. Oh. Yeah, it's possible to do some pretty subtle stuff with that detune, changing the pitch and also balancing that with the mix, but we're not really going to go for subtle here. So, I'll play it again, and then we're going to add the fuzz, and then the drive. So we'll turn the drive off for now. Yeah, again, all very nice. The trouble that we've got with this particular way that we've got this set up right now is that when we add the dry signal in, which we want because we like the roundness that it adds to everything, we also then end up with the detune on the dry signal. So the roundness behind the fuzz is also detuned. The only way to get around that would be to put something in the loop before the dream sequence, and we're not going to do that. So, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to go with the basic option of the drive sound that we've got set up with this particular tone, drive and dry mix setting. We're going to have the Strymon fuzz on, but we're going to do a little bit of fun, and we're going to add in everything and just see how the fuck that sounds. So let's start with the sound that we're probably going to use for the recording. well, that was a bit of fun, and seems to have gotten us where we wanted to go and further. The space bender in there is so nice, so nice. We did actually put it on the high intensity mode there, but ended up being too much. And maybe not always too much, maybe something we will build up to, but overall I think I'm very happy with how things are sounding with this fuzz, and then the fuzz, the dream sequence, and then the night sky after. So I think that's it for now. Let's get rid of these guys. Time to do a bit of recording, but I hope this has been as interesting and enjoyable for you as it has been for us. That was a lovely little bit of experimenting, and please join us again next time. In the meantime, be well.